Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of LeBron James's kind of budget shoe, right? So of course he has his signature shoe line, which is like the LeBron 21, and then he had his Soldier line, which was, it's not a thing anymore, and then we had kind of like the Ambassador line, which also isn't a thing anymore, that was more overseas, but I guess they're keeping the LeBron Witness line, right? So this is a LeBron Witness 8, it retails for 110 bucks, it kind of sucks that they increased the price. It used to be like 90, 100 bucks, you know what I mean? But I guess 110 is still not super expensive, but you know, it's not super budget either, which kind of sucks. But if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave a affiliate link in the description box. But let's get it started right off with the tracciones, and the traction is freaking amazing, guys. This is one of the best tractions I've had for a LeBron Witness, and also it's a really good bite, you know what I mean? So if you're playing on a clean court, you're gonna have amazing stops. It's almost top tier traction, like really good stops. You're gonna be stopping on a dime, and also if you're playing on a dusty court, it also bites through dust very well, which I do like too. So yeah, I mean, even if it does pick up dust, it's a very easy and slight wipe as well. I guess the only thing about this traction is the durability. I guess we have like these squiggly lines, a very thin groove as well. We have this waffle pattern, which is also very thin. So the durability doesn't seem like it'll be very good. I mean, it seems like it'll be okay though, like not terrible, but not the best, you know? So it is a cheaper shoe, so I guess it's not a huge deal, but probably not the best option for outdoor use. But I really enjoyed playing in the LeBron Witness 8 because of how good the traction was, and that really surprised me. Yeah, I guess whatever compound, rubber compound they're using in the shoe is very good, right? Now moving on to the heel to toe transition, also very smooth, right? So here in the heel, it's kind of like a squared off shape, but we have a little bit, it's kind of rounded, you know what I mean? And also we have the foam. So that feels pretty nice here in the heel, and then in the forefoot, we have a nice curve shape and a little bit of forefoot flex. It's actually kind of hard to bend, but you know, obviously when you have it on, your foot you're putting a lot more weight into the shoe, and it actually does flex a good amount more. Also, it does kind of flex here in the midfoot a little bit as well, so watch out if you do need torsional support. But overall, heel to toe transition is very smooth when you're doing heel dominant strides on the court. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. The cushioning setup sucks, and that's kind of what Nike has been, you know, that's what they kind of cut back on when they give us budget shoes, you know what I mean? So Chinese companies, for example, in their budget shoes, they still give us pretty good cushion, you know what I mean? But in Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, they give us really crappy cushioning setups. We have Air Max, like we have a heel Air Max unit. It's not even a 180 unit or a full length, which of course, honestly, I like better. I like this better than like a full length Air Max. But anyways, because of this, we have a little bit of compression here in the heel. This Air Max unit doesn't really do much. Court feel is alright. I would say it's like around average, maybe a little bit better than average. Impact protection is adequate, and it's a responsive cushioning setup. You know, if you want comfort, if you want a lot of compression, if you want a lot of balance, stuff like that, obviously this is not a good option. But if you're looking for a pretty responsive setup with adequate impact protection, I guess if you're like a guard, then this is a pretty good option. You know what I mean? But I mean, being a pretty good option for a guard isn't necessarily a good option for cushion. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, honestly I enjoyed it kind of because I am a guard and I did like the responsive feel, but honestly it's not a great cushioning setup, you know? So there's that. Moving on to the upper, so we have this mesh material. It does get very dirty. I don't know if it's coming up on camera, but there is a good amount of like, what do you call it, scuff marks and stuff. But it's super thin. It's super thin. It conforms to your foot pretty well. Not the most supportive material, however. It does roll over on itself a good amount, so we'll get into that. But it does feel nice on foot, right? And then also here, kind of like in the midfoot, the start of the midfoot area, we have this very nice cloth material as well, and it's stitched, you know? So it's kind of like, it has this embroidered feel, which does make it feel very comfortable and cozy, which kind of does connect to the tongue, which has a good amount of padding as well, which feels very nice and cozy on top of your foot. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And here in the ankle area, we have like an average amount of padding. It's not super well padded, but I would say it's a little bit more than average, you know what I mean? So that does feel pretty nice and cozy, right? So the material quality, of course, isn't great, right? But it feels really nice on foot, and I really like what they did here with this gray material for the tongue, and also here kind of like where the first two eyelets are, right? So it feels very nice, and I guess for 110 bucks for a budget shoe, you can't really complain. So yeah, I guess it's a great material for the price, like for performance, right? And now moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size, and this shoe fits me very well. The length of the shoe is perfect, going up half a size for me. Also here in the toe box, it is pretty snug, and width wise it is slightly narrow, so it's a very nice fit. It's a pretty much a perfect fit for me, right? So I guess if you want a really snug fit, then go true to size, but I wouldn't suggest that. I would probably suggest most people go up half a size, especially if you still want a snug fit, right? And if you have a wide foot, probably go up a full size, you know? But for me, it was a really, really nice fit here in the toe box. Here in the midfoot, it was very nice as well. It's a pretty narrow fit here in the midfoot. So yeah, it's a very nice, perfect fit for me going up half a size. And then moving on to support and lockdown. So support and lockdown was adequate for me, right? So lateral containment, I was pretty much good to go. My foot wasn't coming out of the footbed like that much, maybe just a tiny bit. But like I said, look at this. It kind of rolls over on itself a good amount here in the forefoot, right? So it wasn't terrible for me. It just kind of reminds me of like the PG6. You guys remember the PG6, the lateral containment? It was adequate, but it wasn't the best. You know what I mean? So like comparing it to like, I don't know, the Jaw 1s or the Zion 3, LeBrons, you know, it's not going to have as good support. So if you need a lot of support, then obviously this isn't the best option. But for me, it was adequate. You know, I am a lighter dude. I'm smaller. So I didn't really notice it as much. So I guess for the average person, you should be fine. But if you are a little bit heavier and you're doing a lot of lateral movements, shifty moves, then this probably isn't the best option for lateral containment, especially here in the forefoot, right? I guess we do have this crown design kind of coming up a little bit. And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. But yeah, lateral containment was adequate for me. And also lateral stability wasn't the best, you know what I mean? So it's not super wide. It's actually pretty narrow. There's really not a outrigger. There's no outrigger kind of, you know what I mean? And also because of this air bubble, it does compress a good amount right here. So that's been a huge issue with LeBrons in the past as well. Remember like the LeBron 15, LeBron 16. That's why LeBron's his PEs started to add outriggers because he rolled his ankle in the LeBron 15. So I don't know why they're making it so narrow in the LeBrons again, especially in the Witness 8. Just add a little bit of rubber here and make it a little bit wider. That's all you need to do, you know? And also like because this is, I guess it's like a mid-top, it doesn't really, you know, a restrict ankle movement doesn't really improve ankle support or anything like that. It pretty much feels like a low, but with a little bit of material on top of your ankle bone, you know? So yeah, so there is the support and lockdown there. I would say it's pretty good, but not the best, you know? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, if I remember correctly, it's probably pretty light because, you know, it lacks tech, and shoes that lack tech usually tend to be very, very light. Yeah, 11.65 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 11.65 ounces. That's pretty much the same exact weight. And yeah, this shoe feels really, really lightweight, very minimal, especially because of the upper, but I do appreciate how cozy it feels here in the back of the shoe because of the tongue and also the ankle area, right? And also I felt very responsive. I felt very quick because of amazing traction. Cushion is super responsive. Support and lockdown was adequate for me. So yeah, I felt very quick when I was playing in this shoe, which surprised me. I guess the only thing that I can kind of complain about is the court feel. I wish the court feel was a little bit better, you know, a little bit lower to the ground, but that's just me nitpicking. It's still a really responsive shoe. And ventilation also is very nice, right? We have a good amount of airflow through this textile. It's super duper thin as far as the material goes. So ventilation is pretty good with the LeBron Witness 8. And aesthetically, this shoe looks pretty good. I like how it looks. The only thing I don't like is this. Why? That's just so cheesy. We already have a lion here, you know what I mean, on the tongue. So yeah, that makes it look like a kid's shoe a little bit to me. I wish they would have just not added that, but you know, other than that, this is a pretty great design. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yes, LeBron Witness 8 for 110 bucks is really nice. And usually I don't like Air Max, but they just made it a pretty small Air Max unit here in the heel. It's not like a 180 unit or anything. And I guess court feel, like I said, wasn't amazing, but it's still like not terrible. It's a responsive cushioning setup and the traction was good. So I really enjoyed playing in this shoe, right? So if you're a guard, you know, if you're a lightweight guard and you're shifty, you want a responsive shoe but don't want to spend too much money, then this is a really good option. Of course, we have a lot of great options as well. Like the Jaw 1 is better than the shoe. You have better cushion, you're lower to the ground, you have I guess better traction or just as good traction. Same thing with the AG4. AG4 has way better cushion than LeBron Witness 8, right? So there are better options out there for a better price. However, this is still a nice shoe and I still enjoy playing it. I guess the only reason I would say not to get the shoe is if you're a bigger dude, right? If you're a bigger dude and you need support, this is not the best option. But for the most part, like I said, if you're a guard, you will enjoy playing in the shoe, right? So anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the Nike LeBron Witness 8. Again, if you guys don't want to cop, I try to leave the link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.